Now, straight up, I want to say that this video and channel is not about debating whether the coronavirus is real or not. There are plenty of other channels out there who will accommodate you for such discussions, but this channel is not one of those. What I seek to do is to pass on information through my channel that I see is relevant to my viewers, many of whom may be dating a Filipina or even married to a Filipina and are looking to get back over to the Philippines sometime soon. So as I say, if you want to have a discussion around whether coronavirus is real or not and the ins and outs of that, then this is not the place for you. So switch off now and find a channel who will accommodate you in that area. But some news out this morning on the 1st of May 2021 was rather interesting, I thought, and it says Manila, Philippines, Secretary Carlito Galvez Jr. yesterday expressed confidence that the Philippines will achieve herd immunity against COVID-19 within the year. He says, "We're very confident that the country will be able to achieve herd containment within this year with the help of the private sector with the inoculation of 50 to 70 million Filipinos." So that's out of 110 million in total, but they believe that will give them that herd immunity, which will contain the virus, I'm assuming. Now, at this point, I also want to point out that I'm no expert in coronavirus or anything like most of us. So the figures that they give here of the 50 to 70 million Filipinos to contain the virus is coming from this news article, which, as I say, is from Secretary Carlito Galvez Jr. And one would think he would have some knowledge around this. Business groups at a virtual vaccine summit held and organised by the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry yesterday urged the government to allow them to purchase COVID-19 vaccines directly from accredited sources to speed up the country's vaccination efforts. The government has allowed all private companies to procure COVID-19 vaccines as long as they enter into tripartite agreements with the national government and the manufacturers. At the same virtual summit, Chinese ambassador said 2 million more doses of COVID-19 vaccines procured by the Philippine government from China are expected to arrive in May. So far, 3.5 million doses of the Chinese vaccines have arrived, of which 1 million were donated. We're delighted to know that the Russian vaccine will arrive in Manila soon. They go on to talk about getting the Chinese and the Russian vaccines on order. Now, I don't really want to get into the whole debate around Russian and Chinese vaccines, whether they're good, bad, or indifferent. As I say, we're just passing on the information, and our viewers out there are all adults who can make up their own minds around each of the vaccines and the virus itself. Again, I'm just passing on information that might give some hope to you guys looking to get back to the Philippines to be with your girlfriend or your wives. Now, one might wonder how they're going to get so many vaccinated by the end of the year. They say here, so as of Thursday, which is 2 days prior to me recording this video, the Philippines has already vaccinated 1.8 million people. Now, not really a lot when you consider 110 million in the country, but it's a start. And they say including healthcare workers, senior citizens, and people with comorbidities. The government aims to be vaccinating the general population by August. And I note up here they do say the country is expecting arrival of at least 148 million doses from 7 manufacturers, the bulk of which would be arriving by mid-year. So that would be why their goal is to get those in by mid-year so they can start vaccinating the general population by August. Now, whether or not that's a bit ambitious, I don't know. I know here in Australia, the government has been rather ambitious in the targets that they set, and they haven't been able to meet them to this point in time. They've had issues with supplies coming in that were promised. So I'd imagine it's not going to go all that smoothly for the Philippines either. So whether or not they can start vaccinating the entire population by August and have that completed by the end of this year remains to be seen. And they go on to talk about Sputnik vaccines arrive from Russia. They've already started to get a few of those in, 15,000, which really is not a lot. The vaccines are a part of 485,000 doses for the country, which was supposed to arrive last Wednesday. The first shipment of Sputnik 5 vaccines 15,000 doses left today, 29 of April from Moscow, and should be in Manila by 1st of May. So that's the day I'm recording this. More to come in the next weeks and months. So again, they're not talking about great numbers when you consider they've got to vaccinate 50 to 70 million Filipinos, and they're talking about 485,000 doses from Russia. But again, I guess the bulk of those will be coming mid-year. Well, at least we hope they'll be coming mid-year. That's their plan. Now, there was something that concerned me a little bit down in the article a little bit further, which is about the amount of money the government have been spending or borrowing to try and fight this pandemic and get these vaccines in the country. You'll see here it says some of the Sinovac vaccines, I believe they're the ones from China, if I'm not mistaken, that have arrived in the country were financed by multilateral funding sources. So we have a budget of $1.2 billion. That's not pesos, we're talking dollars. There are other contracts that have not yet been signed, but we've locked in the supply already. To date, the government has secured loans totaling $1.2 billion, which is around $58.5 billion from multilateral banks, which include the $500 million for the Philippines COVID-19 Emergency Response Project, additional financing. From the World Bank, $400 million second health system enhancement to address and limit COVID-19 under the Asia Pacific Vaccine Facility of the Asian Development Bank, and $300 million, which is a financing loan from the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank. So they're going to town borrowing a lot of money for this. And with the situation in the Philippines now, with the economic situation I'm talking about, one does wonder how they're going to come out the other side of this when they're spending so much money and the country is already struggling. But again, on this channel, I don't buy into the politics of the Philippines. I'm a mere foreigner living in a foreign country, so I really have no say. Doesn't mean I don't have my own thoughts, which generally I'll keep to myself on this channel. It does give me some concerns for my family, who I care for very much in the Philippines, as well as the general Filipino population of many millions who are really struggling right now. How will things play out if they do defeat COVID over there by getting herd immunity? Then what happens after that point with the country's economic status? It could be a really hard road for a long time to come for many Filipinos, I'm thinking. Let's hope I'm wrong, because again, I'm no financial expert, but they're just some of my concerns. And again, we don't get into Philippines politics on this channel. The Filipino people are more than capable of doing that themselves. So anyway, guys, I thought that'd be a good little update for you guys who are waiting to get back into the Philippines. And I know there's many of you guys that are really keen for that. So this again gives a little bit of hope. Let's hope they can pull it off, because once they have herd immunity in the Philippines, I'm sure they'd be then looking to get those borders open and allow foreigners back into the country. So keep on hanging in there and keep your relationships going strong, because your time is coming. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.